Yes, everybody, welcome back to Football United TV. This is United Across the Globe, the show where we talk all things Man United. Got a few topics tonight, quickly running through it on my own. So hopefully you guys in the comments can, bounce off us. Let's get this rolling. Yes, people, welcome back to United Across the Globe, the show where we talk all things Man United. And of course, in the press recently, it's not been going too well for the club. Today, Ronaldo, the news, hot off the press, Ronaldo coming out and basically saying that he has a plan or he knows what to do with the club. Because obviously, at the moment, it's all turmoil. There's a lot of big egos and he's come out saying he knows exactly what the club needs, but he's not going to say. So we're going to try and guess that, I think, pretty much. So he's come out and said at 18, some older players spoke to me and I took that as having to improve because they knew more than me. This new generation don't accept criticism. If you don't want my help and my advice, do your job, look at yourself, do your best to help the team. Now, what I think that is, he's basically saying is what he's basically saying is when he was starting off at the club, he had people like Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs to look up to, Vidic as well, leaders of the team, the people that knew the club so well. And these days, there's too many big egos in the club that just don't really care about the shirt and wearing it. It's more about the money, I think, to most people at Man United, unfortunately. And it's a huge problem. And we've had this problem, I think, since Alex Ferguson's left. No one's really taken the club too seriously. And I'm with it. I agree with Ronaldo on this. He's come back to the club after many years, and it's just not the level that it used to be. Coaching's really bad. We're having to change managers all the time recently. Ole's just left. Rangnick's come in. We will talk about him for a brief moment at the end. But it must be disturbing for him to come back to Man United and seeing the way it is. There's definitely some trouble. And in my opinion, it's definitely from the board right down to the tea ladies and everything at the club. Just doesn't seem to be right. It doesn't seem to be this gel like they used to be. I know people don't like to talk about the past too much when it comes to Man United. You kind of look for the future. Times have changed. Alex Ferguson's not here anymore. David Gill's not here anymore. It's not run the way it used to be. We have American owners and they kind of like to see it run as a franchise, don't they? So that, I think, is the big problem with Man United. It's a franchise. And, the news today with Man City basically dominating now on and off the field when it comes to making money. And that is a little bit scary for Man United because that's how far down we've gone in the pecking order. And they're not just the noisy neighbours anymore, Man City. They actually are doing what they set out to do back in 2008 or whenever it was. So, look, for Ronaldo to come out and say that, I think fair play. You can definitely tell that he wants to become a manager at some point. I mean, you saw the way he was in Portugal when they won the European Championship and he was on the sideline and he was acting like a manager, wasn't he? So he's got that in him. Whether it be Man United from now, like retire and go into management at the club, I can't see that. I still think he will probably go to the MLS at some point, and he's got a long time in him. You know what I mean? You hear about all these other players, like the guy in Japan who's like 55. You know, that's mental, right? 55 and still playing in the J League. So, you know, we talk about Ronaldo. He could definitely go up to then if he really wanted to. I don't think he will, because he wants to be a manager, and you have to start that at least in your mid-40s, at least. I mean, you look at Ryan Giggs, he went on till 40 years old. So I can see Ronaldo going on at least till then. And he's not going to be at Man United till he's 40. I reckon MLS 38, 39. If he stays next year at Man United, probably the year after, I think he'll vacate. I can't see him going anywhere else. Maybe Sporting Lisbon, but yeah, I can't see him staying for longer than 2 years. And if we don't make Champions League this season, he might go to somewhere like PSG. They might be able to offer him something, and that will give him the Champions League last season, probably in his career, because I don't think he's got too long to go. But I completely agree with what he was saying. The fact that there's too many big egos at the club, and that really does need to change. If you are tuning in now, please smash subscribe, like, and share. It really is important. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am on my own today. Rick and Unofficial Pundit couldn't make it, unfortunately. So the show must go on, and it won't be a very long show. So if you do want to watch it again, it won't take too much of your time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Talk, big up, mate. Thank you so much for the comment, bro. I can definitely see this one being a very quick one. But let's go on to the next topic, which was Ralf Rangnick, the right man for the job. Now, there's 2 jobs up for grabs, isn't there, for Ralf Rangnick? He could be the sporting director, I believe it is, or the footballing director. And he also could be the manager. He wants to be the manager. And I've been saying this for quite some time, and I said it as soon as he came into the club, that I'm a little bit skeptical on the fact that he was at Lokomotiv Moscow. Now, we're talking about a sought-out manager. Everybody looks up to him, kind of like the Bielsa to Guardiola and a few other managers of that criteria. He's similar to people like Klopp and co. They look up to him, like Tuchel. You know, they take on his philosophy. But at the end of the day, why was he not in either a manager role or a sporting director role at a bigger club than Lokomotiv Moscow? It's not even the biggest team in Moscow. It's not even the second biggest team in Russia. You've clearly got to put CSKA Moscow, and you've got to put St. Petersburg in there, surely. So that, you know, that confuses me a little bit. There might be reasons around it, and I'd love to hear if anybody does know the reasons why he was at Lokomotiv Moscow doing the role that he was. Because if everybody was looking at him saying that he's the guy to take on the Man United role, then where was the interest from anybody else? Where was Tottenham's interest? Where was Arsenal's interest? Where was anybody's, to be honest? Real Madrid's, Barcelona's. Why didn't they look at him then, if he's like this sort of, you know, godfather of attacking football, as people like to mention? So that does worry me. And I don't really like the 4-2-2-2. Is that what he likes to play? Nah, that's not for me. I'd rather prefer a 4-1-3-1. That would be my formation, definitely. But I don't like the 2 at the back. And I thought he might change that. But I'm guessing we haven't got anyone in central defensive midfield role that can actually do it on their own. So I think that's the reason why people like Ole and Mourinho were using 2 in that position. But I don't like to see it, because it means you can have an extra player up front if you have somebody there just sweeping up back side to side, you know, like that gives an opportunity for somebody to go attack with Bruno Fernandes, Sancho, Greenwood, whoever you're playing, Rashford, whatever. And you know, that means Ronaldo would get more service if he's going to be our striker, or Cavani if he's out. So I think that's where we're lacking. He's not getting the service. And why is he not getting the service? Because there's not as many attacking midfielders as there should be. If you've got 2 players sweeping up at the back, you don't need that. Most decent teams don't have two at the back. They have that one main guy that does that role, you know, a kind of box to box, or just literally someone who just is in front of the back four and protects them and guards them and shields them like they're the holy angel. That's what we need. And I hope Ralf sees that. And you know what else worries me a little bit about Man United is, you know, Aston Villa are you know, getting some decent players in. They've got a French international, Digne from Everton, and that's a very good deal, to be fair. I mean, French international, come on, they are a decent international team. We all know that. So that's really good for them. They've got Coutinho as well. We're not really going to talk about Newcastle's new signing because I'm not really too worried about that. I think Burnley should be worried about that, and I think that sort of shows that Burnley are probably looking like they're going to be relegated, and they're getting prepared for relegation. I think that's the thing. But yeah, Man United basically. I don't know, with Ralf, I'm skeptical. I really want him to do well. I want everybody at Man United to do well. That's the main objective here as a fan. But, you know, it's that same old thing. I think people don't like criticism when they think like you're not a real supporter if you've got something to criticize every single time. But if you're, you know, a Man United supporter like me and the older generation, we have to win every game. That's the emphasis of our club. That's the emphasis of what it means to us. Like, go out to win every game. Every game you have to win. We don't like losing. We don't take draws. We want wins. And that's embodied upon me from like growing up as a kid and being the age I am now. That's how could you call it? That's my environment, basically. You know, you are your environment. That's who you are as a person, and that is me. So I need to see Man United doing a lot better. And going back on, you know, Ronaldo, that's what he's trying to say as well. Like, Man United should not drop from that. I know people don't like to call out the past and say like it's changed now, it's a different thing, but that really should not leave. The Busby Babes feeling did not leave, did it? It came back. Alex Ferguson brought that back. So people saying that you don't like to bring up the past, well, the past is Man United. The future is Man United. Hopefully it is. But Ralf, yeah, look, I really do. I hope he does well. I really do. And I hope they back him and maybe get a couple of players in January. I think, why not? At the end of the day, if you're going to be sporting director or manager, it doesn't matter. If you get in the players, it's still your it's your choice. It's your freedom to do that, isn't it? So if you want to build the team starting from now, whether you get that job or not as manager, then go for it. Shoot, why not? So I do understand why people look up to him, like Tuchel, Klopp. But I do worry about it because you look at Mourinho as well now. He's at Roma. I don't think he's the manager he used to be, and that can happen with a lot of other managers. I mean, Ancelotti isn't how he used to be. You know, he's not as good as he used to be. So that can happen. Big up Jordan Hyman from Jamaica. How you doing, mate? Good to see you. Looking forward to the game tonight, Jordan. I bet you are. Niall Kane, big up my bro Matt. Big up Niall. He wants the link. Okay, let's invite him in. We will go back on the topics then and talk about it a little bit and see what he thinks. I know I just went off on a well, I'm literally going off. I've got no posted notes, nothing around. I'm just going from the top of the dome. I've sent Talk the link, and let's see if he fancies coming on to talk with us. Jackie, big up Jackie. Evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. So we were talking about Ralf, and I'm just waiting for Talk to see whether he has anything on that at all. But maybe we should just go a little bit more back onto Ronaldo. What do you guys in the comments think? Do you think Ronaldo was a good buy? Do you think it was worthy of the oh, Talk's here. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, good. Just a little bit busy with work and other isms at the moment, but I was listening now and I was just really intrigued.
Good. What you got to say?
Good stuff. Good stream. No, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, mate. I really do. You know, there's there's a lot of things going on at Old Trafford here that are quite worrying. You know, I said last night on someone else's stream in the comments that, you know, the size of our success, our recent success, which would include Fergie, is now starting to be equalled by our non-success, and that is a chasm that's opening up. And the more that grows and grows and grows, the harder it's going to get for players to actually get the mentality to look at that. It's like looking at it's like looking at Mount Everest, and you know you've never been anywhere near any kind of mountain in your life. Looking at it and someone saying you've got to climb that first goal. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, whoa. It's huge. It is absolutely monstrous. It was monstrous, you know, whilst Fergie was there, keeping up that hunger, keeping up that desire, keeping up that discipline. You know, I was listening to Stephen Alson today, and he was talking about it. A really good stream, actually. You should go and check it out on his channel. It's really good.
Yeah, what channel is that?
Stephen Alson.
Stephen Howson.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah. It's from
yeah. He's Jay's mate. You know, Jay goes on.
Yeah.
You know Jay. Anyway, you've met Jay, but you know.
Yeah.
And
I know. Yeah, Stretford Paddock, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So you know it is a worrying. It's a worrying thing, because when it comes to like looking at a kind of a bigger target, shall we say, when you're looking at a bigger target and you've got offers to try and hit that target, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's good. I like that. I can easily hit that. When the target gets really small, and then what do you do then? And then there's other offers coming in, same as the offers you're getting, but with a bigger target. In other words, when players now start getting offers from, i.e., Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, especially those three at the moment, where, you know, if they're getting offered the same as that Man United's offering them, which is the more appealing at the moment? You know, you look at, especially right now, considering that, you know, we have brought in Cristiano Ronaldo, we have brought in Rafael Varane, and we still are seemingly struggling, you know. And what he was talking about today was obviously the Marcus Rashford situation, you know, with his confidence. And I believe I've read that Alan Shearer has called Marcus Rashford and had a chat with him, you know, to try and help him along in terms of, because you remember Alan Shearer went through a similar phase, didn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah. And everybody was calling for him, you know, he's, you know, drop him and blah blah blah. Well, you know, at the end of the day, these things happen. You know, it is, and I think we did touch on this maybe a month or so ago, about the problems that are still there with these players from the Euros. You know, the hangover of it, the disappointment of it, the expectation that was generated, and also what a lot of people are not talking about, which I will mention, is the abuse that those players took. Marcus Rashford, Saka, Jadon Sancho. Yeah. You know, that is, listen, anybody who thinks that that's something that you can just brush off, it's an absolute nonsense. You can't.
It stays with you for life, that, doesn't it?
Of course it does. And, you know, I was listening also as well, just going off topic slightly, but I was listening to Trevor Sinclair. I was listening to Trevor Sinclair the other day because it was on in the car. I was on my way to a job, blah, blah, blah. And he was talking, I can't remember who he was talking to, but he was talking to somebody. And the conversation was around, you know, racism and everything else. And then he said, oh, yeah, you know, it's just something that now you know, him and somebody else, that, you know, it's just something that we have to, you know, we just accept it. You know, this is what's going to happen. And the guy who he was talking to, I can't remember his name, damn it. He was absolutely perplexed as to why he had that attitude. You know, it started a really, like, a good debate, but I didn't have time to listen to it. I was had to go and do my job. But
was it where he was saying that he can take it?
But he doesn't want his kids. He doesn't want his kids to be.
Yeah, because Anton Ferdinand said, didn't he, about the fact that he has to, like, always remind his kids, like, when they what's the banana skins next to your name, Daddy? This, and he has to remind them. That must be hard, like the.
Do you know what? Again, I've said, you know, we've had many discussions about this privately and on streams, and I'll stress again that, you know, until the government really make some massive changes in the law, and I mean massive changes in the law, and make these kind of crimes the same crimes as serious as, you know, what's the most serious crimes? It's you know, they seem to care for people's possessions more than they do people's feelings. So I would say the most serious crimes is like robberies and, things like that, stealing stuff off people or whatever. It's got to be the same, because otherwise, like I've said many times, what you're doing by being racist is you are denying the person you're being racist to the right to be proud of their heritage. Right.
I heard a really good explanation of why it's difficult to make people like have their IDs and have to sign in and like log in passport, because then it means all the information stored somewhere.
Yeah,
and if everybody around the world, like say some countries like say something that we all agree on, their country might use that to imprison them. So it's
I understand that.
difficult and I understand now why they can't just go, okay, everybody's got to sign up, show their passport number, blah blah blah.
I've said, I know. Listen, people say about rights and blah blah blah, but there are, in my opinion, there are ways that other ways it can be done. With filtering of and you know what? Listen, let me say this: if certain emojis have to be deleted and not used, so be it, because the connotations from them and the context that they're used in is generally, I would say, in an attempt to discredit somebody in some way. In other words, be racist to somebody. So I'm happy to lose certain emojis, and they're gone, because they can create algorithms that can put together. They can pick out like words, right? It can read words that are stitched together in a sentence and read it and go, So like if I sent you a message, saying, oh, I'm selling I've got a microphone that I bought. I don't really like it. It's orange and black. Do you want to buy it? It would pick up that word. It would pick up the word, black, and other words around it, and go, oh no, that's fine, because there's nothing else there. But in the other way, if it was something to do with somebody was sent a personal message to somebody, and that word was in there, and there was other words in there, hateful words, it can easily pick them out and go, no, and it doesn't even get sent. The message just does not get sent. You try and send it, but it won't send it. It'll say, please retype your message as this format, this current, set of, I don't know how you would word it, but these, this context that you're putting this in is not allowed on this platform. Please reassess what you're writing. So I mean, it's simple. They can do it. I know they can. I won't have no one tell me that they can't. Of course they can. If we can make organic microchips from organic matter, which they're doing, you're telling me they can't come up with an algorithm that can detect what's being typed?
Of course they can. You could put a man on the moon, but they can't do that. Of course they can.
Yeah, it's a nonsense, bro.
So do you think, though, this is the reason why Rashford? I mean, you look at Rashford, you look at Sancho, you look at Mason Mount, you look at Grealish, you look at a lot of the English players that come back from the Euros. They haven't done as good as they were doing before it.
Well, Matt, look at it this way. I mean, again, we'll go back to the point of where people say, "Oh, maybe they've got over it now or whatever." And you just think, when people say that, you just think, what are you talking about? These things are psychological. It builds up in your psyche, right? So you have to put yourself in a similar position, which is, I know it's hard because we have never really had to deal with any kind of abuse like that, So it's always going to be hard for us to totally understand it, and I understand that myself. So
yeah, I've never experienced anyone.
No, but at the end of the day,
I'm lucky. I feel, in a way,
Well, it's a build-up. It's in your psyche. You've already got the how should we say? What's the word? The expectation of being a Manchester United player and everything that brings. Going out the pressure. We have to win. You're worried. Are you quite on form? You maybe not 100% match fit. You're going out, and then you've got on the back of that, in the back of your mind, without you even knowing it. Sometimes this is how psychology works. Is that fear, that constant fear of, if I have a crap game or I make a bad shot, am I going to get? Are these words going to come out? Are people going to start saying this? Are people going to start saying that? And because our brains work in very complex ways, with things that hurt us in in our core and cause us to ask certain questions. It opens up a huge kind of worms, let's say. So, I do believe that there are these issues that are there, and you know what? Maybe if Ralf has identified that these may be some of the issues that are not just that, with Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho and any other player, but other players who are struggling just psychologically because of any other kind of abuse. Phil Jones, the abuse he's taken, that was mentioned as well on a stream today. And you know what? You have to think about that and take a step back and think, you know what? Yeah, actually, but they're only human. It doesn't matter how much money you've got. Doesn't matter. Money doesn't shield you from abuse.
Yeah, it still hurts.
Of course it does. Your brain, Phil Jones' brain, right, still works like mine. If I say something to him like, "Oh, Phil, man, you're a top bloke, man. I think you're a brilliant player, and I love you, man. I think you are like the next Duncan Edwards. I think you're a brilliant player for Man United." He's going to smile inside, not just on his face, but inside. But then when somebody goes along and starts spouting a load of abuse and effing and jeffing and, calling him this and calling him that, and maybe even calling his family names and saying whatever, blah, blah, you're telling me that doesn't affect him? Of course it does. Of course it does. But again, I'm going off topic. But yeah, I think there are issues for Marcus. I do believe he will. I don't believe the talk about the off field stuff is, that's something that is another part of his life away from football. Are people going to try and tell me that footballers can't have something else going on in their life apart from football? Because that's
but maybe because it's such a big thing. Like he's not just like taking an interest in something like train spotting, or he's literally going into something that literally can change his mood so quickly, because he's literally probably having to deal with politicians and people that are trying to make a buck off of him doing that as well. Probably a bit hectic.
Yeah, I know what you say, but don't forget he ain't doing this on his own. He has got a team around him.
Of course he has a whole crowd of people.
You know what? I would say that if you was to ask Marcus himself and ask him the question honestly and openly, I'm sure he would reply with, you know what? No, that doesn't. No, that's not a problem, because he achieved what he set out to achieve. He won, and he set a precedent now that everybody else can follow. It's not fair for it to now to just be a case of whenever the kids are let down, everybody turns to Marcus Rashford. That's not. How's that fair? He's set the precedent. He's done the hard work. He's put himself in the firing line. Now it's for other people to go, you know what? I'm going to take a leaf out of your book, and I'm going to fight for this, and I'm going to fight for that. Marcus has done a absolutely marvellous and magical thing, but I don't believe for 1 minute that that's the, people do say that's the sole reason, but I don't believe it is. I just think fitness, expectation, normal every day-to-day life pressures. Forget money. Money doesn't even come into this, right? It doesn't matter how much money people have got, as I said before. But I do believe that Marcus will turn it. He will turn it around. He will turn it around, and he will become what we all know he is. Not can be, but what he is, that person we know right now. It's just that there are certain elements in his mindset that are preventing him from being totally confident and relaxed on the pitch.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to see Molly May take a leaf out of his book anyway. Talk, that would be really good to see if she could do that.
Who's Molly May? I don't know who that is.
I'll send it to you. It's something.
Okay.
It's really funny, actually. The thing I'll send it to you. People probably watching this will probably know about the Molly May story. It's the difference between what Rashford's doing and what she's saying. Which, I'll explain it to you later. Jackie says, mate, would you agree? Ronaldo was a good buy. I do wonder if there is a coaching role attached for him. Do you think there might be?
I'm not so sure about that. I think Cristiano is in such good condition physically, mentally, and health-wise that I think when his time does come to an end at Old Trafford, maybe it won't be the end of his playing days. I think he may want to go off, maybe go back to Portugal to maybe, I don't know, which club did he come from originally? Was it Porto?
Sporting,
yeah. So he may want to go back to Sporting, or he may fancy a stint in the MLS.
That's what I said. Yeah, I can see him going there. Talk. I can't see him doing anything. He loves
Yeah,
America, mate.
of
You know, you've
course.
seen him over there a lot. Like even when he was at Man United, he'd take holidays there all the time. Like go to LA. I can just see him being there. No question. Probably even into Miami, mate. David Beckham, the old Man United link, maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I say, and why not? You know, the guy. It's like when all the talk was about, you know, Lionel Messi he was going to Paris and all the money, and I was like, yeah, hold on, that's within his rights because he's got a skill set that people want to see and want to pay for. So,
I think people forget talk
you know,
that he actually said he'd take a half 50% wage cut at Barcelona. So football for him isn't about the money. If PSG go,
no,
look,
it's
yeah,
not.
we'll give you the money anyway. Of course, he's going to take it because Barcelona said we can't have you no matter what you do. So he's not
Well,
he's not a greedy. He's not a what do they call it? What do they call it when people hold people to ransom in the football world? Oh God, I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
hold people to ransom for getting loads of money.
No, I don't believe that for 1 second. The guy, you know, he's got business interests. He's got loads of other things going on. He doesn't, you know, it's not about the money for Cristiano Ronaldo. Not one little bit. It's about the passion and the love for the game and being the best. You know, he's and let's not forget he still is probably the best in my opinion. Even though it's not been quite working for him at Old Trafford, he still is, in my opinion, the best. And you know, you can't help not admire that. You know, you got to admire that. There's the desire that is still there in him. You know, to want to continue to do well and be the best.
Did you hear about what he's got at his house now? Have you heard about that?
What's that?
Some sort of like isolation chamber
Okay.
that is full of like pure oxygen or whatever, and it helps him. Like he could probably add on another 4 or 5 years to his career of prime Ronaldo.
Well, let's have it right. Listen,
It's freak.
Ronaldo. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he's like a make believe player. But I'll tell you what it is. Ronaldo is the player that we all dreamt of, that we were when we were younger playing. You play, you know, whether it be whether you was kind of like thinking that you were, you know, Brian Robson or Ryan Giggs or I don't know, Paul Scholes or whoever, you know, whatever the footballer it was, you was always, yeah, you know, you would always be better, even better than that in your mind. You know, you always dreamt, yeah, you know, imagine what it'd be like doing this, imagine what it'd be like doing that. And Cristiano Ronaldo that's what he is. He's you know, he's a fantasy he is actually a fantasy footballer because there's never going to be another player like him for you know, an absolute age. You might get someone who have certain aspects of his game, but not.
Do you think Haaland's going that way? Do you think Haaland's going that way?
No. I think Haaland is a great player. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know. I've not seen an awful lot of him, if I'm honest. So I don't. He could
it's just
do. Maybe he could.
Here, mate. It just doesn't seem to stop, does it? His stats just seem to keep going in line.
But the thing with that though is, Matt, is like, you know, yeah. But again, you know, you ask the question, don't you? It's right. Okay, look, you're doing it in the Bundesliga, but okay, could you come and do it in the Premier League? Could he?
Well, that's the worrying thing, isn't it, with Sancho, isn't it? Because he was doing it in the Bundesliga and he doesn't seem to be doing it here. But then the same with Havertz as well. I guess at Chelsea, he's not really had that appeal, has he?
Well, yeah. I mean, again,
and Werner.
But it's and it's about There's a lot of differences in there between the leagues in terms of the playing style, the tempo, and you know everything else. So I think you listen. It's like I say, you don't lose your ability to do something just because you've gone to a different country. You know what I mean? It's still there. It's still there. It's just a case of you have to adjust. You just have to adjust. You know, and I think maybe that's what half of the problem is with Donny van de Beek. He has to adjust maybe this is what they've been waiting for, is for him to adjust his game to what we want him to do. Maybe he's struggling with the adjustment because let
I think
me
so,
say this.
mate. Yeah, I think so. I agree with you completely because look, the Dutch league is a slower pace. It's not slower than say the French league or who else would be Serie A. Say that they're pretty slow leagues, but it is still slow, and that's where he gets more time. He likes 1-2s, but you don't really get that much time in the Premier League to be able to do them 1-2s. And if you do, you're going to get clipped like straight away. You'll get fouls more than you actually pull off them sort of moves. So that's probably he's finding that difficult. I think I agree with you on that.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And you know what? I think if it's not quite working for him, and maybe obviously the coaches and Ralf see this, maybe that's why he isn't getting as many starts. He may get minutes, but maybe that's because maybe why he's not getting so many starts because he's the lack of adjustment to the type of play that we want him to do consistently in a game. It's okay doing it, once or twice, but then if you can't do it consistently, then obviously it's going to be a problem for the team because the whole idea breaks down. You know what I mean? So that's for him. And the same could be said maybe for Sancho as well. That he is in the process of adjusting his game. And for me, I think he has been improving. I think he's been improving, Jadon Sancho, and I think he needs.
Yeah, that game with, to be honest, can I be honest as well? The best game I've seen us play since Ole was under Carrick.
Oh yeah, was that the which game was that?
Why would I have to say Young Boys? Would it be Young Boys? I like the Chelsea game as well. That was really good. It was the 2 games, wasn't it? That Carrick did. I just thought we played like Man United used to play, kind of. I know it's why is it weird that doesn't seem to be the case right now for me? I don't get it.
Because it's changed, hasn't it? It's changed. We're trying. With what Ralph's brought these new ideas. It's not. I say new, but they're not new. These ideas have been around a long time. But it's only when somebody actually. It's like if I start to talk to you about guitar playing techniques now verbally, you're like, oh yeah, boom boom, yeah. But then if I came to your house and sat down with the guitar, and then started to go right, you know what we were talking about, right? Well, this is how you do it. You're going to start looking at my fingers all over the fretboard and go, oh yeah, what are you doing there? Oh,
Matt, play me a G minor.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Or a Phrygian scale. Yeah, play me a Phrygian scale in Pink Floyd style, David Gilmour. You're gonna go, yeah, all right. I'm just going down the pub. You know what I mean? But so these things are. I say they're kind of new. Like I say, they're not new, but they are new to the club and to the team. So, but again, do you trust Ralf? Do you have faith that he can actually get us to a good spot in the league this season? Maybe top 3, 4.
It's difficult. I know he's got the brain for it, but like we said before, I think there's so much trouble in the background that doesn't help with him to be able to do that. So look, I mean, it's so difficult, mate, because I really want him to do well, but I just can't see what he can do with a team that's been built by so many different managers. We're still like running off of Van Gaal, Mourinho, and Ole players, and he's got none of them players he's chose. So he's having to work with what he's got. And if you don't get, I'd like to see him get backed in January, mate, only for maybe a player or two, just to see whether he's going the right direction.
Do you know what? I agree with what you were saying earlier as well. Also about, because I did mention this myself. Why does he not try, a 4-1, whether it be a 4-1-3-2 or a 4-1, whatever you said. I can't remember what you said. What did you say in yours?
4-1-3-1.
Yeah, 4-1.
No, 4-1-4-1.
Oh, 4-1-4-1. Okay, yeah. Well, that's an option as well. I mean, but again, I agree with what you were saying about, you look at other teams, they have that one player who does sit and be the sort of the general and the backstop. I like to call it the backstop. It's like it's the safety, the safety out
security guard.
You
can't come in.
Yeah, because you can't. You
look at my mirror. Your face, and for my mirror.
if you think about that, I mean, if you think about that, a 4-1 setup with the likes of Alex Telles and maybe Diego Dalot, and then you've got the three in the midfield. The one being for me, and if he's fit, I would give him a will. It is Phil Jones. And I'm telling you now, I know Phil Jones would be able to play that position. I've had people laugh when I've said that before, and there are probably people laughing now. But I'm telling you right now.
I would have laughed before that amazing game that he played against, was it Newcastle? Was it Newcastle?
Yeah.
Or was it Wolves?
Yeah. Well, you see how quick he was out. There was a clip put out about him closing the ball down. But there's one thing with Phil Jones is we know that he's he can be quick like that. He can short burst, bam, short distances. And that if you're in that position, and I'm sure because he was played in midfield at times by Ferguson, and Ferguson knew Phil Jones's techniques, that technique he had in his game, and that's why Fergie said he could be the next Duncan Edwards. He didn't just say that for the fun of it. He said that because he could see what these assets that Jones had in his. I'm going to use a solo phrase in his cabinet.
What happened,
right?
Mate?
Well, injuries and injuries lead to loss of so many of your natural abilities. But again, like I said, if he's fit, 100% match fit, raring to go, I don't understand why Ralf. And also, let's just drift away from that for 1 second. I do want to mention this. There is also another opportunity here for Ralf because he knows that he is not going to get the job full time now. He's not. He's gone. He's kind of had that. He's had that moment of kind of new manager bounce to get the team at it, and it's not worked. So he ain't going to get the job full time now. So why does he not? He knows he's getting the job upstairs for 2 years, right? 2 seasons, whatever it's going to be, years or seasons. Why does he not now go? You know what? Maybe now is the time. If this is a mentality issue, which it is, right? Give some of these youth players, the most promising youth players. Give them a start, even if it's just first half, second half, whatever. Let them be the ones to set the example. Because you imagine if you're, I don't know, you're a first teamer, yeah. You go to training, blah blah blah. The next thing you know, the team comes out, you get your message or you get your phone call or whatever. It's like, the game on Saturday, Aston Villa, yeah, boss, yeah. Thinking that he's going to say, well, you're starting, and he says, no, well, yeah, you're on the bench. So make sure you're prepared. You're like, yeah, wait, what? On the bench? Who's taking my place? Then you go in, you find the team sheet, you see this young kid in your position. He goes out there and puts an absolute shift in, does exactly what he's told by Ralf Rangnick, right? And actually puts a performance in and does really well. Are you telling me that ain't going to make you think, well, wait a minute? You're either gonna sink into your what's this? Your non-self belief. You've got no belief in yourself, and you slip backwards, or you're going to step up. One of the two. But either way, one of those things has to happen. You can't be in the middle. There is no middle there. You can't be, half in and half out. You're either being a great player or you're not. And if you ain't, you have to accept that. And if you ain't working out for you, au revoir. Bring in the kids. Bring in the players who are going to be giving us what we need, in game to help us achieve what we need to achieve, which is, again, once more, greatness.
I think we've got that talk as well. I think our youth are very good. We got a guy called Zidane as well that looks pretty cool. Malanga looks really good. He played the other night, didn't he? Took on a few players, got a bit of a cheer from the crowd. It was nice to see.
Well, that's the thing. Listen, you know what it's like. You play football, whatever kind of level you play football at. You go into a team, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You get your opportunity, bam. You make sure you make an impact. You make sure this is what I keep saying as well, also about talking about making sure you learn from your errors in game. You know what I mean? That's a huge, big thing for a new player to go into a team. If you learn from your mistakes in the game, in a moment where you've made a mistake, the player's moved on, you're then in a position where you've got time to think about what's just occurred. You go, you know what? I ain't going to do that again. No, you ain't going to do that to me again. Like, say you've sold yourself. You've sold yourself. He's gone sliding and he's turned you and left. He's given himself, all the time in the world to make a choice and made a good pass, and it resulted in a shot on goal, which the keeper's just about saved. Back of your mind, you're thinking, all right, okay, then you ain't going to do that to me again. And when the players who do that again and make the same mistakes in game, that's where, for me, as a manager, you then say, no, you're not ready yet. You're not ready.
Yeah.
You know, so. But I think, you know what, like I say, for me, for Ralf, he's on a free ride right now to the end of the season. And I like to say, he spoke about he's going to try different formations, which is fine. You know, it's all good. Giving players a chance. I just hope that he now does give some of the other players a chance. Some of these promising youngsters we've got, give them a chance to go out there and play with their heart and play with the passion that we know is all pent up inside them, you know.
You just reminded me of Edgar Winter Group there. Come on and take a free ride. You ever heard that tune? Rock tune.
Never know. I probably have, but I just don't know the name.
Days of Confused. You ever watched that with Matthew McConaughey? A very cool 90s flick about hippie stoners in the 70s that like go to a party and just get trashed.
That's a
cool.
Led Zeppelin song. Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that's in the film as well. Not the 18-minute version.
No, tune though, isn't it? It's a tune that, yeah.
Oh, absolutely is. That 18-minute goes bloody hell, it's mental, mate. 18 minutes.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to admit, Jimmy Page. Oh my days, man! Jimmy Page. It'd be difficult for me to say that is the world's best guitarist ever, because for me, there's only one, and it has to be. There's only one, and it's Dave Gilmour. But you know what, Jimmy Page, Dave Gilmour.
You think he is the best? I'm not jumping on the bandwagon just because it's him, but I would say Jimi Hendrix still.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah. Look, I mean, Jimmy, yeah. I mean, Jimmy's
just the way that Dave Gilmour and Jimmy Page sort of said, like, oh, I saw this guy Jimmy playing, and I realised you need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing, because all right,
so
Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, but Jimi Hendrix was the single most important musician in the history of music, in my opinion. The most important, because of how he altered the way of thinking and the approach to playing a guitar. Yeah, and you know, there's a scene in the I think it's the Isle of Wight. He played the Isle of Wight. And
yeah, I've seen that.
If you go look for it, have you seen the one where he plays it? He says, right, I can't remember what the tune's called now, but he says, okay, we're going to play whatever the tune's called now. And before he starts, you see him, he counts up the fretboard for his starting position. He counts up with his finger, because
that was his last ever gig before he died as well.
Yeah, but because he didn't know what the notes were. He had no idea. Like I have no idea. If someone said to me, where's A flat on the B string? I'd be like, yeah, I'll just go and put the kettle on. Do you know what I mean? I don't know that. What does it really matter? What does that matter? All I know is that I can improvise and I can just play whatever I want, and just come up with something and play with feeling. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, like I say, he opened, like, you was looking at the first page up until that point, because obviously there are other. I know we're going off topic slightly, but there is somebody else that we must never, ever forget in this conversation when you talk about guitar and rock and roll. And who would that be, Matt? I hope you can tell me.
Is it before Jimmy? Yeah.
Way before.
Yeah, before Jimmy. Way before.
I'll give you a clue.
Can I go like?
I'll give you a clue.
Blues.
Then you might get it. Crossroads.
Robert Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Robert Johnson. Yeah. I mean, this. You know what? I mean, wow. I mean, you listen to Robert Johnson early recordings, man. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. And
what is that, bro?
Yeah, to come up with. I remember doing this when I was doing my degree in music production, and I did a piece about. It was Adorno. I think I mentioned this to you before. Adorno, high class, low class, and it was about how people appreciate music and listen and hear music differently. When you take into account their way of life and the way where they live, everything else, lifestyle and blah blah blah. And actually did really well on that. I actually got first, and it was a big long piece. But I remember when the tutor, the lecturer came and he said to me, he just said, "Wow," he said that's some piece of work. He said, "Well, where was you? Where was you when you was writing that?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll tell you where I was, sat in a cloud of smoke."
Brilliant.
But you know what? Going back to it, yeah. Listen, it's times are looking a little bit kind of worrying. But I think maybe do we need to take a little step back here and go, hold on a minute, let's just hold the phone. We've had one. I think we've only had one. Have we had one defeat under Ralf?
Yeah, only one. Yeah, that was Wolves.
We've had one defeat. We've had one defeat.
Too bad.
Okay, look, the football is not what we are kind of expecting because the story now is not matching up with the cover, you know, in terms of what Ralf said when he came in and what we're seeing. But I mean, yeah, like Cristiano said himself, what you read out at the start, you know, it's going to take a bit of time. They have to trust him. Ronaldo trusts him. Hopefully, the rest of the squad trust him, and I believe that he will. I think he will get us where we want to be by the end of the season. I think we will be in the top four, whether it be fourth or third. And I think he will take us on a pretty decent run in one of these cup competitions. You know, and I think maybe I did say at the start because Jay Motti, who has been on the Man United and who's going on the Man United agenda later on, did say, and I agree, that maybe our best chance is the Champions League. You know, maybe the Champions League is a doable. People may laugh and go, "Oh, you got no chance because of what X, Y, and Z." But you know what? Cup competitions, as you know, individual games, bit of luck, some good decisions, and boom, you're halfway there. So,
yeah, you got to look at Spurs, haven't you? In 2019, just to see that you can. I mean, they got through, and everyone was like, "No way, they're going to get to the final or anything like that," and they did.
You mean Chelsea? Chelsea. Oh no,
Spurs in 2019.
Yeah, that's right.
They got to the final. I mean, they weren't ever expected to get there. Actually, yeah, I've got the thing up right now. Talk. What do you think the score will be versus Villa on Saturday, 5:30 p.m. kickoff? People.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go for a 3-2 to United.
3-2. That's a close game, mate. That's a close game. You think they're up for revenge then?
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, you know, I think there's going to be a lot that Steven Gerrard and his team will have learned from that game, that last game, some mistakes that they may have made. And listen, we all know Steven Gerrard is not a stupid man. You know, as much as we don't like him because he was playing for Liverpool and all the rest of it, he's not a stupid man. And you know what? He will have some changes and little things up his sleeve that will maybe cause us more of a problem in certain areas of the pitch, which he would have noticed. So I think, yeah, you know, I think it could be one of those games. So that's what I'm going to go for, mate.
I'm going to go 3-1 United. So similar-ish, I guess. You think maybe Villa will get another goal. Hopefully it doesn't go 2-0 and we have to get 3 back. Actually, maybe that would be good. That might be good to see. We'll finish it off there then, because I know the Man United agenda are on in 3 minutes. And if you are tuning in right now, please go check them out at the Man United agenda. They're on at 8 o'clock tonight with the incredible Jay Motti from the Stretford Paddock. So please go check that out. Big up Anthony. Big up Jouix. I know they're all just trolls. I know. Solo. Big up Solo. That's the Man United agenda, everybody.
Yeah.
By the way, before we finish it off, I want to do a vlog on that Music United TV discussing the new Beatles film or the episode.
Okay.
Get back the ones. Hopefully we can do that at some point if you fancy that.
Yeah. Just message me, bro. We'll sort it out. No problem.
All right, sweet. Right, we're going to finish it off there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Talk. Actually, where can we find you, mate? Where can we find you?
Oh, yeah, same place, mate. On Twitter at iTalkMU and on the Man United agenda and on this channel. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
As I was.
Thank you for coming on, mate. Rick was meant to come on, but unfortunately, I don't know what's happening. I hope he's okay. Hope he's all good. Yeah. All right, we're finishing off. Everybody, see you later. Take care. Enjoy the weekend. And come on, United. Let's beat Villa, please. Let's do it. Let's push up. Take care.
Ciao.